Okay, good morning. Now today's our lesson is Union Legislature. Now this lesson comes for 10 marks in section A and has the following topics which are written on the board. Now these topics I'll be covering one by one. Now let's begin with the first topic, and before moving on to the unitary government, that is the first topic, let's understand what is Union Legislature. Now there is a 1 mark question that comes in the board regarding this. What is Union Legislature? And Union Legislature comprises the President as its head and the two houses of the Parliament, that is the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha. And second part of it, name the two houses of the Parliament, and they are Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha. So in this lesson, we will be studying about the Union Legislature, that is the Parliament. And what is a legislature? Legislature is that body of the government, that part of the government that makes laws. So the work of the Union Legislature, that is the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha combined, is to make laws for India as a whole. Now in this lesson, we will be covering now the Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha and their powers. Now first, let's understand the first topic, that is the unitary government. Now this unitary government means that there is a country and the country has a central government, and this central government is all powerful. That means it has all the powers and it only delegates some of the powers to the states and who work on the directions of the central government. This kind of government is called as a unitary government, in which all the powers are concentrated in the hands of one government, that is the central government. Now some of the features of this type of government may be like a presidential form of the government. Now come to the second part of it, that is the federal government. Now in the federal government, what happens is that the definition of the federal government can be given as that it is a type of the government in which the division of the powers are there between a central government and the one or more state governments. That means both central government as well as state governments, they have some area in which they have their own powers, in which they have full authority to do whatever they want. Now some other features of the federal government are like there can be a division of the subjects. That means there can be judiciary, which is having its own power. Then there is a division of the revenue. That means the taxes, they are divided between the center and the states. And these are some of the features of the federal government. Now what kind of country India is? Since Indian constitution exhibits both the unitary as well as the federal features of the government, therefore it is said that India has a quasi-federal structure of the government. Now let's come to the next part, and that is called as the Lok Sabha. So now let's understand what is Lok Sabha, and first point regarding the Lok Sabha is its composition. Lok Sabha is also called as the lower house of the parliament. And what is its composition? Composition means how many members are there, and now let's understand this, how many members are there in the Lok Sabha. So total at present right now there are 552 members of the Lok Sabha, out of which 530 are elected from the states. Now 13 members, they are coming from the union territories, and previously, now this has been abolished after say 2020, but previously two Anglo-Indians members also used to be a part of the Lok Sabha, who were nominated by the President of India. But now after 2020, through an act, Government of India has abolished this, and as it is feeling that those people who came from Britain and they lived up in India after the freedom of India, and for their protection and for their representation, the two members from their community were nominated to the Lok Sabha, who were known as the Anglo-Indian community or Anglo-Indian persons. Now since after 75 years, now there is no need as such, so now government has abolished this. So therefore now these two seats are vacant, and now what is the present composition? 530 members are from the states, 13 from the union territories, and total of the maximum number of seats, that is 552. Now you may ask why the 552 is there and why we are not saying it as 543. So 543 becomes the present strength, but the 552 is called as the maximum strength. That means these seats are vacant from those areas in the union territories for which some seats were given, so that when their population increases, so their seat may be increased according to their population to give the representation to them. And that is why these seats are absent, not present right now. And that is why we have say two kinds of composition of the Lok Sabha. One we say as the present strength. What is the present strength? It is 533, 530 from the states and 13 from the union territories. And what is the maximum strength of the Lok Sabha? It is 530 members from the states and 20 members from the union territories, plus 2 seats which have now become vacant, but actually they are part of it, so we call it as 552 as the maximum strength. Now come to the next part, and this becomes the qualifications. Now what are the qualifications that are needed for the Lok Sabha? And these qualifications are, like, first of all, he or she should be a citizen of India. Then he should not be a proclaimed criminal. Then he should not be having an office of profit. He should be of a sound mind. Then the age limit should be 25 or more. He should not be less than 25. He should be either have completed 25 years or it is more. Plus, we can say that he should not have been debarred by any law to contest the Lok Sabha election. So if a person fulfills these qualifications, naturally he can be elected to the Lok Sabha. Here the educational qualifications are not compulsory. So that is why they have not been mentioned. So no need to get confused. Is there any educational qualification needed or not? Now come to the next part, and this is called as the sessions of the Lok Sabha. Now understand this, these sessions has various points. Now first of all, what is a session? Session is a time period which is allotted for the Lok Sabha to do some of its business. Business means the work to be done by the Lok Sabha. Now these sessions normally are of 3 types. Like, one is called as the budget session, then second is called as the monsoon session, and the third is the winter session. But there is a limit that there should be at least 2 sessions in a year. And what is the condition? The condition is that there should not be a gap of more than 6 months between 2 sessions. So in this way, we can say that the minimum number of sessions that the Lok Sabha or the Parliament can have is 2 sessions. There is no upper limit for the number of sessions. As many as sessions that Parliament wants, it can have. But here I have said Parliament wants. Actually, it is decided by the Cabinet and it is promulgated by the President. So it is the President who summons and prorogues the Parliament. That means it is the President who says that at this point the Parliament will start its session, and at this point of time the Parliament will end its session. Now in between, whatever the time is allotted, that is with the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and there they decide what work is to be done and in what way it is to be done. So this is about the sessions of the Lok Sabha. Now come to the next word, that is called as a quorum. That means, what is a quorum? Quorum is defined as, it is the number of the members of the Lok Sabha which should be present for carrying out the work of the Lok Sabha, and it is 10% of the total number of the members of the Lok Sabha. This means that Lok Sabha has 543 members at present strength, and if we take out 10% of it, that comes 54.3, and to be rounded off, not in the less way, in the higher way, so it will be 55. So what is the quorum for the Lok Sabha, it is 55 members. That means 55 members should be present for carrying out any activity in the Lok Sabha. If it is less, then that work is not done in the Lok Sabha. Now, in the same topic, I will be telling you about the quorum needed for the Rajya Sabha also. The definition is same. Definition is what? It is the minimum number of members that should be present in the Rajya Sabha for carrying out the work of the Rajya Sabha, and it is 10% of the total strength of the Rajya Sabha. So maximum strength of the Rajya Sabha right now is 250 members. So if we take out 10% of it, that comes 25. That means the minimum 25 members should be present in the Rajya Sabha for carrying out its work. Now our next topic is speaker. That means once the Lok Sabha is formed, after that who will manage the work of the Lok Sabha? So after the election of the members, it is the speaker who does it all. So there are two words. One is called as the pro tem speaker and the other is called as the speaker. So as soon as the first Lok Sabha is constituted, then any one of the members is made as the pro tem speaker, and then finally they elect a speaker of their own, and as soon as the speaker is elected, then pro tem speaker's job is over. Now this pro tem speaker can be the speaker as well. That means he can be made as a speaker, or some other member can be made as the speaker. Now listen to how the speaker of the Lok Sabha is elected, and the shortest possible answer of it is that the speaker of the Lok Sabha is elected by the members of the Lok Sabha from amongst the members of the Lok Sabha itself. Now there is one more person that is called as the deputy speaker, and he is also elected just in case, suppose if his speaker is out of the town or not present in the Lok Sabha for any reason, then to carry out the job of the Lok Sabha, another person is needed, and he is called the deputy speaker, and he is also elected in the same manner. Now come to the powers of the speaker. That means once the person is appointed as the speaker, now what powers he has. So first power is that he is overall in charge of whatever the work is to be carried out inside the Lok Sabha, and it is almost his own decision that runs in what way he is going to accomplish those jobs, whatever, it is his full command. Secondly, no one can intervene in the Lok Sabha. The decision of the speaker is final. Even the court cannot intervene in the decisions given by the speaker as far as the parliament is concerned. Now there are so many powers of the speaker. Now these two powers I have told. There are other powers like he can appoint the members for the various kind of delegations that are to be sent. Then the speaker can have the disciplinary powers as well. Suppose if the person is creating any kind of disturbance in the Lok Sabha, then he can ask that person to be removed. Suppose if any kind of unparliamentary kind of words are spoken in the parliament, then he can ask those words to be expunged from the working of the Lok Sabha. As you know that whatever the works is done, they are recorded in the Lok Sabha. So he can ask them to be removed. Similarly, Lok Sabha also has the power to expel the members if they disobey the anti-defection law. Now what is anti-defection law? The simplest definition of anti-defection law could be that if there is any party and if less than 1/3 of those party members, they move out of that party and form another group or another party, then they can be expelled. So what is the defining line? There should be less than 1/3 of that particular party, then they can be removed by the speaker from their membership. Now come to the advantages of the Lok Sabha. Now at Lok Sabha it has various kind of advantages, like it gives the people to express their views through their representatives. Now their representatives who are elected in the Lok Sabha, they can raise their voices in the house so that the government comes to know about what is needed by the people, their grievances are put in front and their solution can be found out. Another advantage of the Lok Sabha is that it is a storehouse of information. Since government has a very large body and whatever the information about the country and even of the international arena, they come to the government and they are stored with it. So it is the easiest way from where we can get the accurate and correct information, and for that matter, members have the right to ask the questions, and they ask the questions in two ways. One is called as the written way and the other is called as the oral question. Now, when the members put the questions in front, so they have start question and unstart question. If they have the start question, that means they can ask the questions in the oral way, and otherwise in the unstart way they can ask the question in a written way. Third way is to put a short notice question in which any time a member can put a question, and if the government has the answer, then it can give the answers in less than 10 days time. Otherwise, at least 10 days time is provided notice. Then the government is supposed to answer the questions. Now let's see the three more advantages of the Lok Sabha, which we can put in another way. The question comes like this, that tell in what way Lok Sabha is superior to Rajya Sabha. Or this can be asked like this, that what are the exclusive powers of the Lok Sabha. So first point is that since Lok Sabha has large number of members, that means it has 543 at present, and which are much more than Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha has 250 maximum. Therefore, wherever a voting is needed or any bill is to be passed by the voting, then what happens? The will of the Lok Sabha prevails because it is having more numerical strength, which means it is having more numbers. So if the Lok Sabha wants any bill to get passed, it will pass if a joint sitting is needed and a joint voting is needed between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So this is the first point. Second, whatever the money bills are there in India, they are passed by Lok Sabha only. Rajya Sabha only has the advisory role, and this is the second point, second exclusive power which the Lok Sabha has. And the third exclusive power which the Lok Sabha has, that is that it can bring the no confidence motion. And what is no confidence motion? If the opposition party feels that the present government in the Lok Sabha or the present party in the Lok Sabha whose government has been formed has lost the majority, then they can ask for a voting in the House. If the government loses, then government has to step down. That means government falls, and this can only be done in Lok Sabha and not Rajya Sabha. So these 3 points show you that Lok Sabha has an exclusive power, or in some ways it is superior to Rajya Sabha. Now come to the next part, that is the Rajya Sabha, and let's see what are the qualifications needed over here. So in Rajya Sabha also the qualifications are, rest of the qualifications are same as the Lok Sabha. The only thing that is different is that a member should have completed his age as 30 years or more. So that person can be elected for Rajya Sabha. Now I am repeating the qualifications that are needed. First of all, the person should be a citizen of India. Second, he should not hold any office of profit. Third, he should be mentally sound. Fourth, he should not have any criminal record. Fifth, his age should be 30 years or more. And last, he should not have been debarred by any other law. Now let's see the term. Now here term I will be telling both for the Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Okay, first of all, listen to the term regarding Rajya Sabha. And here please make sure, take note of the language. The normal term of the Lok Sabha is 5 years. But if the government is not able to complete its full term, then in the mid-term also the government may fall, and in that case the term of the government may be less. So it can be 2 years also, 3 years also, depending upon when the government loses its majority. But in certain cases, the term of the government may also increase beyond 5 years also if the emergency is imposed just before the completion of the Lok Sabha term. Then the Lok Sabha continues, and in that case, at a time 1 year, the Lok Sabha terms increases until the emergency conditions exist. And as soon as the emergency conditions are over, then within 6 months an election has to be done and a new Lok Sabha is formed. So in this way, the Lok Sabha's term can increase as well and decrease as well. Now come to the term of the Rajya Sabha. Now Rajya Sabha is called as a permanent house. Why? Because Rajya Sabha never dissolves. It's only 1/3 members retire every 2 years and new 1/3 members are elected every 2 years. So in this way it keeps on continuing, it never dissolves, and this is the reason that Rajya Sabha is called as permanent house. Here take a note of it that the members of the Lok Sabha can have the maximum term at a time of normal term as 5 years. But the normal term of the Rajya Sabha member is 6 years. So don't confuse with the term of the Rajya Sabha and the term of the member. The term Rajya Sabha is a permanent house, so no term, and member has 6-year term. After 6 years he retires, he can be elected again, but once elected, then he has to retire after 6 years. Now come to the quorum. So quorum I have told you as the 55 because again what is the quorum for it? 10% of the total strength of the Rajya Sabha, and Rajya Sabha's maximum strength is 250, to 10% of it is 25. That means Rajya Sabha needs minimum 25 members for doing any work to be carried out by Rajya Sabha. Now let's understand what is the composition of the Rajya Sabha. Now this also we can divide into two parts. One we can say as the present strength and the other we can say as the maximum strength. Now what is the present strength of the Rajya Sabha? The present strength is 245 in the bifurcation of it is 233 members that are elected from the states, and the 12 members who are nominated from the special fields like the social service, art, literature, etc. So these 12 members are nominated, and 233 they are elected from the states. They are indirectly elected. And the present strength of the Rajya Sabha is like 233 members from the states. Now 12 they are nominated, but 5 extra seats are there. And again the reason is same, that for the union territories, if the population increases, then they can get elected from there. So 5 seats are from there. So what is the maximum strength? The maximum strength of the Rajya Sabha is 250. Now come to the next topic, and that is the advantages of the Rajya Sabha. So answer is this we can put up in a different way as well, and the other way in which we can put up is what are the exclusive powers of the Rajya Sabha, or what are the special powers of the Rajya Sabha. So answer to this is, first of all, that if Rajya Sabha feels that a subject, this is the first point, if the Rajya Sabha feels that a subject of the state list has assumed national importance, then by 2/3 majority it can declare it as a subject of the national importance, and a law then can be made by the parliament on that particular subject of the state list. So this is the first exclusive power of it. Second is it is a permanent house. Therefore, suppose if there is any condition in the emergency condition, and suppose Lok Sabha after 5 years has dissolved and the emergency condition is imposed after that, then it does the work of Lok Sabha also, because Rajya Sabha is not dissolved, so it does its own work as well, plus it does the work of the dissolved house as well. This is the second advantage of it. So these are the ways in which the Rajya Sabha is superior to Lok Sabha. One more point regarding this is that the all India services like those are civil services, like the officers like the IAS, IPS, like these kind. So these services can only be started with the permission of the Rajya Sabha. So these are the three main points of it in which it is having exclusive power or it is superior. Now we'll deal with the powers of the parliament. Now let's see the first power, and that first power is called as the legislative power. Legislative power means it is regarding the law making powers. Now in the law making powers, the first topic is subjects. Now there are three kinds of subjects. One subject is the union list, the other list is the state list, and third list is called as the concurrent list. Now what are these three lists? Now try to understand this. Now central government in the central list can make the laws. The state and other governments cannot make a law in it. It is only the topics, the subjects on which the law is needed can be made only by the union government. Now the state list is the list of the subjects in which only the state government can make a law. But there is a common list that is called as the concurrent list. Now here both the state government and the central government can make a law, but there is a condition that if a law has been made, a similar law by the state government and the union government on a topic, then the law of the central government will prevail and the law of the state government will become null and void. Now how many subjects are there? The union list has 97 subjects, the state list has 47 subjects, and the